Hey guys, for our first art project this year, we are basing it around International Dot Day, and this is celebrated on September 15th-ish. We say ish because we can actually stretch International Dot Day as long as we need to complete our project. So International Dot Day came from the book The Dot, written by the author Peter H Reynolds, and I have that book recorded for you guys to listen to. So go ahead, make sure your eyes are on the screen, your ears are listening, and you can watch along with our video to hear the book The Dot.
Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti's teacher leaned over the blank paper. "Ah, a polar bear in a snowstorm," she said. "Very funny," said Vashti. "I just can't draw." Her teacher smiled. "Just make a mark and see where it takes you." Vashti grabbed a marker and gave the paper a good, strong jab. "There!" Her teacher picked up the paper and studied it carefully. She pushed the paper toward Vashti and quietly said, "Now, sign it." Vashti thought for a moment. "Well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name." The next week, when Vashti walked into art class, she was surprised to see what was hanging above her teacher's desk. It was the little dot she had drawn, her dot, all framed in swirly gold. "Huh! I can make a better dot than that." She opened her never-before-used set of watercolors and set to work. A red dot, a purple dot, a yellow dot, a blue dot. Vashti painted and painted. The blue mixed with the yellow, and she discovered that she could make a green dot. Vashti kept experimenting, lots of little dots in many colors. "If I can make little dots, I bet I can make big dots too." Vashti splashed her colors with a bigger brush on bigger paper to make bigger dots. Vashti even made a dot by not painting a dot. At the school art show a few weeks later, Vashti's many dots made quite a splash. Vashti noticed a little boy gazing up at her. "You're a really great artist. I wish I could draw," he said. "I bet you can," said Vashti. "Me? No, not me. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler." Vashti smiled. She handed the boy a blank sheet of paper. "Show me." The boy's pencil shook as he drew his line. Vashti stared at the boy's squiggle, and then she said, "Sign it." The end.
I love reading that story because I love seeing how Vashti started off being really discouraged with her artwork, and then all of a sudden she was able to take something as simple as a dot and grow it into something awesome. At the end of that book, she had an entire art show based around dots. So we are going to be creating our own dots, making our mark. This is all about you making a mark and exploring, seeing where it takes you. So what we're going to do for our dot project is we are actually going to be creating some dots that we're going to be using in our classroom as well as a fun hallway display. If you are a distance learner, I am going to still have you guys create some dots, and I want you to send them to me. Send pictures of them to me. If you want to use your dots to decorate at your house, that would be awesome to help celebrate our International Dot Day. So let's talk about the process we are going to use to create some color on our dots. The process that we will be using in our vocab word for this lesson is printmaking. Printmaking is the artistic process of transferring an image from one surface to another surface. In this example, you can see it's pointing to from this surface, and that's called a linoleum block. It's like a soft block that you can carve into, and it's then transferred to the other surface. So you'll see the arrow that says to this surface, and that surface is a piece of paper. So the artist was able to transfer their design from one surface to another, and we'll be doing the same thing. And you'll see the little note at the bottom that says when pulling the paper up to reveal the print, we call this pulling a print. So all that means is once you have created that image that you're transferring to the other surface, you are then pulling it off to reveal your new print. So when you hear me say pulling a print, that simply means you are pulling up your paper. The type of printmaking that you will be doing for this project is called a monoprint, another vocab word for this lesson. Mono means one. So when we're talking about a monoprint, that means you will only be able to print your image or your design one time. This is really different from other forms of printmaking where you can print your image or design multiple times. Like in the example we had a couple slides back on that linoleum block, the artist would be able to continue to put color or ink on that linoleum block and print as many prints as they would like. But in a monoprint, you can only do your print one time. We are going to be using markers to create our monoprint. So I have a video to show you that's going to explain exactly how to do it. So what I'm going to need you to do is quickly gather up some markers. Make sure your eyes are on the screen, your ears are listening, so you know how to create your monoprint. And don't forget that we are creating dots for dot day. So I'm going to be showing you my 2 dot examples in the video and how I was creating the background for my dots using markers in our monoprint process. We are going to be creating our own stickers that are going to be using a marker print background, and then you are going to get to design your own sticker. I will be providing you with the sticker paper. However, if you are a distance learner, I would suggest if you don't have stickers available like these, just take a small sheet of paper and trace a circle on it. Use a little bit of a thicker paper if you have one, since we are going to be doing a marker print on it. So what you're going to need is a transparency slide or something that has a slick surface, and all I've done is trace a square onto that paper using a Sharpie, because when we go to do our marker print, we don't really need to go into much more space than the size of our paper. If we're coloring this whole page, we're wasting marker. So draw a square on the page to limit yourself. If you're in class with me, I will have a sheet already provided for you. If you're a distance learner, you're going to want to draw in your own space that matches up to the size of your paper. If you do not have a transparency slide, or if you do not have like a sheet protector like this, you can use a Ziploc bag, or you can even use a piece of tin foil. So I'm going to show you using our page protector. You're going to take the color markers that you would like for your marker print, and you're going to color inside the box. You're not going to color outside, you're only coloring the inside. I have chosen these 3 colors because these look nice together. They are the cool family. And all I'm going to do is color random patches of these 3 colors inside my box. When you go to color in your box for your print, you want to make sure that your lines are close to each other. If you're coloring like this, that's not going to be enough marker to pull for your print. So you're going to want to make sure that those lines are close to each other. But do you also see how I'm not overlapping my colors? I'm not coloring this blue right on top of my purple. I'm making sure that as I'm getting close to the other color, I just stop when they touch. So I'm going to fill in the last bit of my gaps with my green. So I'm going to finish coloring nice and close. Try not to overlap as much as possible. And then once I've filled in my box as much of the white space as I can without going too crazy, I then need to make sure that it is sprayed in order to make the marker print work. This is a marker monoprint, meaning you're only going to be able to print it once, and it has to have marker in order to transfer from this to your sticker paper or your paper where you have drawn your own dot. So you're going to use your spray bottle. If you don't have a spray bottle, you can just flick water on it. You're going to spray it, and you can already see those colors starting to blend and bleed together. You're going to take your sticker paper or your dot paper, lay it face down onto the marker, and I like to also twist to kind of make sure that I'm covering all of that area. So I'm just twisting it around, and then I can pull it up to see, have I gotten it all covered? I see a little bit of some white spots left, so what can I do? Stick it back down, rub again on the marker, and now it's filled in those spaces. This is a monoprint because as you can see now, I have smudged and smeared around that marker. So if I try to print again, I'm not going to have a good print. So it is a one-time print. So once you've pulled it off, you are done with your print, and then you need to clean your surface. So you're going to take just any rag or paper towel and just wipe away the marker that you've used. You're going to be creating 2 dots, 2 stickers that you are going to design. So you are allowed to do the same colors, or you can change up and do different colors if you would like. So for my distance learners, I suggest you make 2 dots just like this on paper, and you are going to then cut them out once they have dried. So this is how we create our marker monoprints. I am super excited to see how these turn out. So we gotta chat really quick about color theory, and what this means is how we can use colors to work together. How can we pair colors to make a color scheme that is appealing, meaning it looks good together. Some colors work well together and others do not. So the first color pair that you guys probably know is the primary colors. Our 3 colors, red, yellow, and blue. You cannot mix and make the primary colors. But you can mix and make the secondary colors, purple, orange, and green. These colors totally give me fall vibes, as well as the warm colors, red, orange, and yellow. Also got some really nice fall vibes happening here. And then we have our cool colors, purple, blue, and green. Nice, cool, calming colors, look really great together, love using those. But then we have some tricky colors. These are our complementary colors, aka color wheel across the street neighbors. These colors are located directly across from each other on the color wheel. So our color pairs we have are purple and yellow, red and green, and orange and blue. When these colors are side by side, they look really good together. They help make each other pop. But when they're mixed together, they make kind of a mucky, gross color, like the color brown, or even sometimes it looks kind of black. So when we're doing our marker prints, maybe you don't want to put our complementary pairs too close to each other, because when they start to mix and squish together, you might end up making a color that kind of looks like a swamp. Next up are our neutral colors, black, gray, brown, white, and tan. Some people may say that these colors are boring, but I have to disagree. I think they're every bit as exciting and as fun as all of the colors you see here in our color wheel. This is a very basic color wheel. It's only got 6 colors on it. Our primary colors, our secondary colors, or you could even group them as the warm and the cool colors. We've got our complements on there. We don't see our neutrals on our color wheel, but that's okay. This is a very simplified color wheel. Our color wheel actually has 12 colors on it, and I'm going to show you where those new 6 colors come into play in our color wheel. So let's take a look. Wowza, that looks intimidating, but I promise you it's not. All we've done is add in these new colors called our tertiary or our intermediate colors. These are colors that come between the primary and the secondary colors on our color wheel. To say them correctly, we always want to make sure we say our primary color name first. So for example, we're looking at the red and the orange. In between red and orange, we can create a new color called red-orange. All we're doing is squishing together those 2 colors and boom, you got a new color. Same thing, let's jump down to the bottom. If I mix together green and yellow, I've now made yellow-green. And I bet you guys have seen these colors probably more than you think you have. Where you've probably seen them before is if you've ever used Crayola crayons. Crayola crayons use our primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, but they like to rename their tertiary or intermediate colors fun names. For example, instead of saying yellow-green, they may call that electric lime. And now that you guys know the full 12 color wheel, we can talk about analogous colors. Analogous colors are next door neighbors on the color wheel, meaning they're side by side to each other. And you can group them in groups of anywhere from 2, 4, sometimes even 5. If they're side by side on the color wheel, they look good in pairs. For example, you can see up at the top, I have the colors yellow-orange, orange, red-orange, and red together. Very similar to our warm colors. So when we start to look at our full color wheel, we can start pairing them as side-by-side neighbors to make color schemes that are very pleasing to look at. And people use this in real life. People like interior designers or even fashion designers. They look at these color schemes and they look to see what looks good together. And a lot of times they'll pull out an analogous color scheme because these next door neighbors always look fabulous together. So when you go to choose your colors for your marker print, maybe you want to consider some of these different color schemes that we've just talked about. So let's make some art. Here are today's goals. Make sure all of your info is on the back of your dots. This includes your name, your teacher's name, seat color and number. If you're at home, you don't have to stress this. Make sure you create 2 marker mono prints today. You should be creating 2. They can use different color schemes or they can use the same schemes, completely up to you. So in my example, you can see I did one with like some analogous warm colors and then the other one has my cool colors. Make sure your dot goes on the drying rack to dry or in a safe space if you are a distance learner. Don't forget to clean up after yourself. If you are in the classroom with me, I will show you where all of our items need to go. If you are a distance learner at home, make sure you put the items back where you got them from. And if you have time left over before our 30 minutes is up, you can start brainstorming on a piece of scrap paper what image or design you're going to add to your dots. Because next class, we're going to be using some Sharpie markers to add on to our dots. Just like you can see, I've drawn a face on one of my dots and a turtle on my other one.